Sure.
Hello, my name is Sarah. I'm from Seattle and I'm 18 years old.
My name is Joshua. I'm also 18, and I'm from Miami, Florida.
All right, Josh, what do you want everyone to know about being a change maker?
For me, I think being a change maker and something I want everybody to know is that it doesn't matter how old you are or where you're from. As long as you have that drive and that mentality to be a change maker, you can be a change maker. And it's really about those values that you have.
Cool.
Yeah. So for you, what is one thing you try to make time for every day?
It's interesting because we were talking about this. It's definitely reading. Yeah, I feel like reading is something that I have so many friends who go like, oh, I don't have enough time to read.
Yeah.
And I think it's just such a powerful thing to be consuming text,
I agree. The knowledge and information you get from it helps in every day, really.
Yeah, literally in every single thing. Places you don't expect it would help. Okay, how can schools best support kids to be change makers?
I think that schools have a really unique role in supporting kids in that process of becoming a change maker. Teachers, and you spend a lot of time in school, 8 hours plus a day, and it's kind of working with administration and teachers to create an environment where kids can be themselves and understand that they have the power and the ability to make a change in the community.
Okay, cool.
So then for you again, what advice do you wish you had when you were starting out?
Wow, there's so many things I wish people had told me, honestly. But also part of it is discovering those things for yourself.
Sure.
But I think the most major thing is I wish someone had told me that it's going to be so time consuming.
Yeah.
Like my entire life changed because of the initiative and kind of this process of becoming a change maker. And I didn't expect it to change. But worked out well in the end.
I understand that. And bouncing off that, I just think that learning for yourself, that's when you really learn the lessons rather than people just telling you. So there's certain things that, even though it would have been helpful if people told me before, I would not understand them as well if I didn't experience them firsthand.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like, at least for me, I don't follow advice until I make the mistake and I think, oh, that's why everyone's been telling me that. Wow, look at that.
So how can parents best support kids who want to get involved?
That's interesting because I had the same question for you. So why don't we just answer it kind of together?
All right, sure.
So I feel like to all the parents out there, I should acknowledge the fact that I am 18 years old. So my parenting advice might not be top notch. But I think a big part of it is letting your kid do what they want to do. Like with me, I told my dad, like, I want to start a nonprofit. And he was definitely taken aback. He was like, oh, you're like 15 years old. But, he never stopped me. If anything else, he started helping me and supporting me, even if he was kind of like, what the heck?
And even if you're not directly involved in it, just that supporting touch and allowing your kids to grow and kind of be independent really allows them to become a change maker in that.
Yeah, and don't force it.
Agreed.
I think if my parents had told me you should create a nonprofit, I would have never created one. So there you go. What would your community look like if everyone was a change maker? That's a good question.
It would change a lot, just in terms of how businesses are structured, the way that businesses are run. Kids would be much more involved in our community and just giving back. And overall, I don't think the world would see the same problems if everybody held the same values in terms of change making. You would see a lot more unity and equality, and I think it would just be a better place overall.
All right, cool.
And then for you, has there been a moment in your journey that really reaffirmed for you that you're on the right track?
Yeah. So every single time I see anyone who's been impacted by my organization, I'm like a super emotional person. So I cry maybe like once a day.
Okay.
But like every time I see anybody who's been positively impacted by my organization, I am shaken to my core. And it's like once your organization starts growing, you meet more and more people like who've been impacted. And every person you meet, I feel like I go into this zone where it's just me and that person, and I have all these other stresses going on in my life, but like I'm literally just crying. Like I literally start crying and I just think about like, wow, I've actually done something with my life. Wow.
You feel a connection, and it's really inspiring. And it keeps on motivating you to keep on doing more and more.
Exactly, yeah.
Sure.
So that's it. Why does teamwork matter in change making?
Teamwork is a crazy thing. And that kind of goes with leadership and those skills that you learn, whether you're running a business or not-for-profit. Teamwork and bouncing off ideas off each other and learning how to work together just to make the world a better place. is really key. And a part with teamworking is just learning how to like delegate tasks to each other and work together, just to kind of put the individual aside and look at the whole goal. I think that's really important for any business or not-for-profit.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. I've asked you it before,
Okay.
and it's related to teamwork. So there has to be a balance, right, in teamwork between accountability and then allowing someone to do the work because they care. Can you speak to that?
Let's see. We were talking about this for a little bit.
And he had a really great answer.
I'm not sure if I'm going to do word for word, but I think that learning how to, for me, for my foundation, especially as I was leaving to college, I was working on sustainability a lot and figuring out how I could get the kids who were part of my organization to run the foundation. And what I did was actually split up my job and what I do among many kids. And we made them accountable to each other as well as to an adult. And I think the key thing is, especially in having a youth and adult collaboration, is that sometimes I think youth have great ideas and they're very motivated, but sometimes they can go off track. And I think that's where sometimes adults need to come in and make sure that kids are focused and are grounded. They have to make sure that they keep on doing the work that they're doing. So it's kind of, again, a teamwork between them, each other, holding each other accountable.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
Cool. What advice would you give to others who are hungry to do something but unsure where to start?
I would say that the first place to start is to start making an impact. You know, like I think if you sit down and your first idea is, I want to register as a 501c, like that's not the place to start because the process is really boring, it's really tedious, and it's kind of the worst part of running a project. So you have to start with like, for example, if your idea is to promote inclusivity, like start just promoting inclusivity. Don't do any of the paperwork, do what you actually want to do and what your idea is. And I think things kind of figure themselves out. Everybody around you, I would say the large majority of people want to make this world a better place. But a lot of people don't have the initiative or kind of the time to do that. So if you start reaching out to other people, chances are everyone's going to want to help you.
It's true. And people try to take on too much at once sometimes.
Oh, it's so true.
Starting small and making sure you have your goals figured out is really, really key.
Yeah, cool. I very much agree with that. Okay, this is a fun one. What are 3 words you would use to define your generation? Don't make it cheesy. Make it real.
Absolutely. A little cheesy at times, maybe. Let's see. Informed is one thing. I think that we are a very informed generation just due to technology, information that we have on the internet. Is one thing. Second thing is connected, and that's again technology, social media. We're all on it. And the last thing is we're actually pretty passionate about things, and we really are seeing the impact that we have on our community and the resources that just the power that we have, whether it is in legislation and advocacy or actually giving aid to people. There's a lot of kids out there who are realizing this and really trying to take it in their own hands.
Can I push you a little? So you said informed, and you said off the media.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, can you go into that? Accurately formed, inaccurately informed?
So, while there is a lot of misinformation at times, I think that, I think, to correct myself, I should say that there is the most available information for us.
I agree with that.
We can, with the right resources, find the most accurate information at times. And this can really help us as a generation to keep ourselves properly informed and make the right decisions.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
So here's a loaded question, which I know you like.
And now I'm scared.
Okay. So Bill Drayden has pointed out that wealth inequality and us versus them politics keeps increasing. In your own perspective, why is this happening?
Yeah, that is a loaded question.
It is.
That's probably the longest question in this deck. And of course, I had to get it. No, I think it's all about miscommunication, right? And that goes a little bit into the way I pushed you with the word informed. Like, I think in this age where anybody can be a news reporter, anybody can upload a video, there's so much miscommunication that people see not only what they believe, but almost a more extreme example of what they believe. And that pushes them further and further from a place where they can open their mind and think about other views.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I think part of it is also with miscommunication, like, unfortunately, 2 people talking doesn't happen enough anymore.
Social media and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. And there's just been so many times where, and I'm sure you've experienced it too, you text someone and they completely miss the tone of your voice. Like, they think you're really angry.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's not true. I'm actually not that angry.
True.
So I think those things have just pushed us further and further apart.
I agree with that. And kind of like the wealth inequality side is historically, just based on America in itself, there's always been a gap between certain races, and that leads to wealth inequality in one aspect. But on the bigger scales, companies are becoming wealthier, and they're giving more money to C-suite positions, which in itself is, you can argue if it's morally or immoral, but understanding that the benefiting all employees will actually make the company perform better as a whole is something that I think a lot of companies are missing out on.
Yeah, so I disregarded wealth inequality. You're right.
That's fine.
And I really agree with you. And I actually, my opinion on that is like, when you're talking about things like affirmative action, it's so important that it's benefiting the right people.
True.
And I think what worries me is that there's people taking advantage of the system incorrectly, and then far from the system being corrected. Instead, those people continue to benefit, and then that leads people to have these messed up opinions about affirmative action not working, and
that leads to a whole different problem.
Oh yeah, I just popped off. It was the question, I swear.
Of course.
Okay, what do you want everyone to know about being a changemaker?
Let's see. It should start with you. It should start inside. And you want to find something that you're really passionate about. For me, the first thing and the first problem that I learned about in my community was hunger and poverty. I saw it firsthand in my community. I had family who were in it, and I wanted to do something about it. And it started off, again, very small. And as a change maker, the second thing that I actually was thinking about is you have to keep learning and keep an open mind.
So true.
And because of those two things, it allowed me that passion and that love for learning. It allowed me to grow as a person over time, and allowed me to create Joshua's Heart and do the work that I do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And for you, what does it mean to be a change maker to you?
Wow. I think being a change maker is about acknowledging the fact that you have the power to make a change, and then also having the passion and the want to make a difference, and caring enough to make that difference.
I agree with that.
Yeah.